There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when the weight of the world feels unbearable, when the silence around you is deafening, when betrayal stings sharper than any blade, and the road ahead seems endless. You've questioned everything, your purpose, your path, even your own worth. You have stood at the edge of the unknown, staring into the abyss, wondering if anyone truly sees you, if anyone truly understands what you have endured. But listen to me now, you were never alone. Even in the depths of your solitude, unseen forces have been moving, guiding, protecting, and shaping you for what is to come. The war you are fighting is not just yours. It is a battle far older than time itself. A battle between truth and deception, between light and darkness, between those who are called and those who seek to suppress the ones who are destined to rise. They have tried to convince you that you are isolated, that your voice is a whisper lost in the wind. But they failed to realize that you are not one voice. You are part of an army. The unseen warriors, the silent protectors, the divine forces that stand beside you, they were never absent. They were simply waiting for you to step into the truth of who you are. And now, as the illusions begin to shatter, as deception crumbles under its own weight, you are seeing what has been hidden in plain sight all along. The chosen ones are awakening, and with that awakening comes power. The kind of power that cannot be stolen, cannot be silenced, and cannot be broken. If you feel the truth of these words in your soul, if you know that you were never truly alone in this war, I want you to declare it now. Leave 77 in the comments. Let it be your statement to the world, to the unseen forces that guide you, to the ones who tried to break you but failed. The time has come. The battle is shifting, and you are ready. The weight of truth and the strength of your support. Truth is not an easy burden to carry. It isolates, it wounds, it demands more from you than you sometimes feel capable of giving. But there is one thing more dangerous than truth. It is silence. For too long, they have thrived on your silence. They built their empires on your hesitation, manipulated your kindness, twisted your loyalty, and depended on your unwillingness to expose them. But the time for silence has ended. You are not just fighting for yourself, you are fighting for every chosen one who has walked this path before you and every soul who will walk it after you. You are part of something much greater than yourself, something vast, something unstoppable, a movement of truth that will no longer be denied. And here is the reality: movements do not thrive on silence. They require voices, they require strength, they require support. This platform, this message, this space for truth needs you. If you have ever found power in these words, if you have ever felt less alone because of them, if you believe that the chosen ones deserve a voice that will not be silenced, then I ask you to stand with us. Click the Super Thanks button, not just as a donation, but as a declaration. A declaration that truth will be heard. A declaration that deception will not win. A declaration that those who have been chosen will no longer walk in isolation. Your support is not just for this message, it is for every soul who needs to hear it. It is for the ones still searching, for the ones who are just beginning to awaken, for the ones who have yet to realize their own power. What you give will return to you in ways beyond what you can see, because when you stand for truth, the universe stands with you. Betrayal, the blade they never saw coming. Not all wounds come from battle. Some of the deepest cuts are inflicted by the very hands we once trusted. Betrayal is the silent war fought in the hearts of the chosen ones. It does not announce itself. It does not come from the shadows. It comes from the ones who once walked beside you, the ones you called family, the ones you lifted up, the ones you would have given everything for. You see, they never hated you. They envied you. They saw in you what they could never possess, something untouchable, something divine, something beyond their understanding. And instead of celebrating it, instead of protecting it, they sought to destroy it. They whispered in the ears of others, crafting stories that painted them as victims and you as the villain. They stood by and watched as your name was dragged through the mud, never once stepping in to defend you. They twisted your kindness into weakness, your loyalty into naivety, your silence into submission. But here is what they never understood: betrayal is not a loss. It is a revelation. It strips away illusion. It forces truth into the light. It reveals who was truly standing with you and who was merely standing close enough to steal your light. And once revealed, there is no going back. They thought you would break under the weight of their deception. They thought you would crumble in the storm they created, but they forgot one thing: you were never fighting alone. And now they are watching as the foundation they built on lies begins to crack. The same voices that once echoed their stories are starting to question them. The same people who once stood by their side are stepping back, because deception does not have the power to withstand truth. The irony: they feared your voice. They feared the moment you would finally stand up and speak the truth. But what they should have feared more was your silence. Because while they were busy manipulating, strategizing, and spreading their fiction, you were simply waiting, watching, allowing the pieces to fall into place. And now the time has come. The truth does not need permission. It does not need validation. It does not need an invitation. It simply arrives, and when it does, there is no escaping it. So do not mourn their betrayal. Do not waste energy trying to understand it. They were never meant to walk this path with you, and deep down, you always knew it. Your rise is inevitable. Their downfall is self-inflicted. The only thing left for you to do now: keep walking, keep rising, keep proving them wrong, not with words, but with the undeniable force of your existence. The collapse of their illusions. The weight of truth is heavier than any lie they have ever spoken. For so long, they thought they had control. They wove their narratives with precision, convinced that their illusions would stand forever. They manipulated the people around them, distorted reality, and painted themselves as the righteous, the misunderstood, the innocent. But lies have an expiration date. They did not expect their world to crumble. They did not foresee the unraveling of their carefully constructed deception. They never imagined that one day, the foundation they built on falsehoods would begin to crack beneath their feet. And yet, here it is, the inevitable collapse. You see, deception requires constant maintenance. It demands energy, effort, and control over those who are willing to believe it. But truth requires nothing but time. Time to reveal, time to expose, time to make itself undeniable. And that time is now. The very people who once rallied behind them are beginning to see through their act. The ones who once echoed their lies are growing silent. The support they depended on is vanishing. And the illusion they worked so hard to maintain is falling apart thread by thread. They call it misfortune. They call it bad luck. They refuse to take responsibility for the energy they put into the world. But deep down, they know. They feel it in the quiet moments when they are alone with their own conscience. They see it in the eyes of those who once believed in them, but now look at them with doubt. They hear it in the whispers that follow them, in the hesitation of those who no longer trust their words. And here's the truth they never wanted to face. You never had to lift a finger. You never had to seek revenge. You never had to expose them, because they exposed themselves. They thought they were the architects of your downfall, but in reality, they were the authors of their own destruction. And now, all you have to do is watch. Watch as their world crumbles under the weight of their own deception. Watch as the truth, long buried, rises to the surface like a force that cannot be stopped. And when they come to you, because they will, when they reach out, not in remorse, but in desperation, looking for a lifeline to save them from the consequences of their own actions. Remember this: you owe them nothing, not your forgiveness, not your sympathy, not even your acknowledgement. You did not put them in this position, they did, and now they must live with it. The power of silence, not weakness, but strategy. Silence is a language only the wise can understand. For too long, they mistook your quiet for submission. They believed that because you did not respond, because you did not engage, because you did not defend yourself, you were weak. They were wrong. Your silence was not a sign of fear. It was patience. It was wisdom. It was strategy. Because the truth is, some battles are won not by fighting, but by refusing to play the game. While they were busy scheming, manipulating, and spinning their narratives, you were watching, observing, allowing the pieces to fall into place. You understood something they never could. Truth does not need defense. It only needs time. And now, as the illusions they created begin to crumble, as the lies they told start to unravel, they are realizing the truth was never on their side. This is why they fear you. Not because you are aggressive, not because you seek revenge, but because you do not need to do anything at all. Your existence alone is enough to undo them. Your silence forced them to reveal themselves. It made them overextend, expose their tactics, and ultimately destroy their own credibility. And now they are the ones scrambling for explanations. They whisper in the shadows, trying to regain control. They reach out to those they once deceived, desperate to rewrite the narrative. They attempt to shift the blame, to redirect the consequences onto anyone but themselves. But it will not work, because the moment of truth has arrived. And you are free, free from their chaos, free from their manipulation, free from the burdens they tried to place upon you. So let them run. Let them grasp at the remains of their illusion. Let them fear the silence that once comforted them. Because the most powerful thing you can do is not fight them. It is to move forward, untouched, unbothered, and unstoppable. The unbreakable spirit of the chosen ones. They tried everything to break you. They threw obstacles in your path. They tested your faith. They manipulated, deceived, and betrayed. They whispered lies, cast doubt, and did everything in their power to make you question yourself. But you are still here, and that is what terrifies them, because they believed that if they made the storm strong enough, you would drown. They believed that if they turned enough people against you, you would crumble. What they did not realize is that you were never built on the approval of others. You were never dependent on their validation. Your strength does not come from them. It comes from something greater, something they could never understand, something they could never take away. You are unbreakable, not because you have never been wounded, not because you have never fallen, but because every time they tried to destroy you, you rose again, stronger, wiser, more unstoppable than before. And now, as they look at you, they do not see the person they once knew, the person they thought they could manipulate, the person they thought they could control. They see something they fear. They see someone who cannot be touched, someone who has transcended their games, their lies, their betrayals, someone who has stepped fully into their power, no longer seeking revenge, no longer looking back, no longer needing validation from anyone. This is what it means to be chosen, to endure the fire and emerge stronger, to walk through the darkness and still carry light, to be betrayed, broken, abandoned, and yet never truly fall. Because no matter what they tried, no matter what they did, no matter how hard they fought to bring you down, they never realized one thing: you were never walking this path alone. And that is what terrifies them the most. Not just your strength, not just your resilience, but the undeniable fact that you were always destined to rise. They cannot stop what is already in motion. They cannot rewrite the truth that has already been revealed. They cannot escape the consequences of the choices they made. And now, they are left with only one thing: the realization that they never had control to begin with. So stand tall, walk forward. Let them watch in silence as you rise beyond their reach. You do not need their apology. You do not need their recognition. You do not need their approval. Because the only thing that ever mattered, the only thing that ever truly held power, was the undeniable truth that no matter what they did, you were always going to win. The end of the old world, the rise of the new. There is a shift happening. You can feel it in the air, sense it in the way people look at you, hear it in the silence that now surrounds those who once spoke against you. The tides are turning. The world they built, the one founded on lies, deception, and manipulation, is crumbling beneath their feet. And the reason is simple: what is not built on truth cannot stand. For years, they convinced themselves that their games would last forever, that they could deceive, betray, and manipulate without consequence, that their carefully crafted illusions would remain intact, unchallenged, unquestioned. But what they never understood is that truth has an energy of its own. It does not need defense, nor does it need permission. It moves like a force of nature, slow at first, subtle in its approach, but then unstoppable. And now, as their world begins to collapse, they are running from the reality they tried to suppress, running from the people who are no longer willing to believe their lies, running from the consequences they once thought they were immune to. But there is nowhere left to hide. This is not just a shift in your personal journey, it is something much greater. The false foundations of this world are beginning to break apart. What was hidden is being revealed. What was whispered in the dark is now being spoken in the light. And those who have spent their lives building their power on deception are starting to realize that they have nothing left to stand on. But you are not crumbling with them. You are rising into the person you were always meant to be, rising beyond their narratives, beyond their control, beyond the limits they tried to place on you. You have endured their worst, and yet here you are, untouched, unshaken, unstoppable. Because unlike them, you were not built on deception. You were built on something real, something divine, something that cannot be broken. And that is why they fear you. They see now what they failed to understand before. You were never just one person. You were part of something far greater, a movement, a force, a divine alignment that they cannot comprehend and certainly cannot stop. So let them run, let them hide, let them grasp at what remains of their illusions. It does not concern you. Your only task now is to rise, to walk into the new world that is unfolding before you, to step into your power, no longer burdened by the weight of their deception, because their time is over, and yours has just begun, a call to stand unshaken. The battle is no longer yours to fight. The war has already been won. The truth has already been revealed. The only thing left for you to do now is stand. Stand firm in the knowledge that you were never broken, never defeated, never outnumbered. Stand tall in the understanding that every obstacle, every betrayal, every challenge was not meant to destroy you, but to shape you into the person you were always meant to become. They tried to silence you, but your voice only grew stronger. They tried to isolate you, but you discovered an unbreakable connection to forces beyond this world. They tried to convince you that you were powerless, but you have seen the truth. You were never powerless. You were simply waiting for the right moment to step forward. And now, that moment has arrived. You do not need their validation. You do not need their approval. You do not need them to acknowledge the truth, because the truth exists whether they accept it or not. The only thing that matters now is what you choose to do with the knowledge you have been given. Will you step forward with confidence, knowing that nothing can stand against you? Will you embrace the power that has always been within you? Will you walk with the certainty that you were never walking alone? Because you weren't, and you never will be. You see, the battle was never about them. It was always about you, about your awakening, about your transformation, about you stepping into the fullness of your divine purpose. They were never the main characters in this story. You were. They were merely the obstacles that forced you to grow, the distractions that tested your resolve, the shadows that made your light shine even brighter. And now, as their world fades into nothingness, you are free to move forward, unshaken and unstoppable. No longer weighed down by their lies, no longer tangled in their games, no longer seeking justice, because justice is already unfolding. This is your time, this is your moment. Walk forward in strength, stand firm in truth, move with the confidence of someone who has seen the worst the world can offer and remained undefeated. And as you go, remember this: you are not alone. You have never been alone, and you never will be. The ones who stand with you, both seen and unseen, are greater than the ones who stand against you. This is not the end. It is the beginning of something powerful, something divine, something unstoppable. The chosen ones are rising, and nothing will stand in their way. Not now, not ever. Now, if you feel the power of this message, if you know in your soul that this was meant for you, I invite you to be a part of something greater. This platform exists to remind every chosen one that they are not alone, but to continue to grow, to reach those who need to hear this truth. We need your support. If this message has resonated with you, if it has lifted you, if it has given you strength in your journey, I invite you to click the super thanks button and contribute to this mission. Your support is not just for this platform, it is for every soul that is still searching for their truth. Every person who needs a reminder that they are not alone. Every chosen one who has yet to awaken. What you give today will come back to you in ways beyond what you can imagine, because when you give to truth, truth will always give back to you. Step forward with confidence, move with certainty, rise with power. And know this: the ones who stand with you are stronger than the ones who tried to break you, and nothing will stop what has already been set in motion.